Is it possible that the greatest stories of our ancient past are not myths, but historical records of a forgotten truth? Mainstream archaeologists tell us that our ancestors were primitive, but ancient texts from around the world describe incredible beings with advanced knowledge. These were the Grail kings. They were not mere mortals. They were the guardians of a sacred lineage that held the very blueprint of humanity's divine potential. These kings, also known as the Enochian or Ceres Egyptian lines, were said to possess a unique genetic code, a key that could unlock higher states of consciousness and connect them directly to the cosmos. Their existence is hinted at in tales of god kings who ruled over magnificent civilizations like Atlantis, Lohas, and the early dynasties of Egypt. These Grail kings were the original caretakers of Earth. Their bloodline was pure, descended from a celestial source that granted them abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. They were master builders, astronomers, and spiritual leaders. Could it be that structures like the Great Pyramid were not tombs, but energy devices built to harness the power of their unique biology? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. The Grail kings understood the universe in ways we are only just beginning to rediscover. Their power was not in armies or in gold, but encoded within their very cells, a biological technology that made them living gateways to other dimensions. This sacred inheritance made them a target for powerful off-world entities. The societies they governed were utopian. In places like the Rama Empire of ancient India or the Celtic Druidic orders, knowledge of this sacred science was preserved. The Grail kings were not rulers in the way we think of them today. They were guides, teachers who helped humanity evolve. They knew that their DNA was a precious gift, a 12-strand diamond sun template that allowed for full biological ascension. This was the original human design, capable of incredible feats of healing, teleportation, and interdimensional travel. But what happened to these enlightened rulers? Why did their golden age come to an end? The answer, as we will see, lies in a cosmic conflict that began long before recorded history. This is not just a story, it is a secret history, hidden in plain sight. The Grail kings represent what humanity was always meant to be. Their legacy is the story of our own lost potential, a potential that was stolen and manipulated by extraterrestrial visitors with their own agendas. The evidence is everywhere, from the sophisticated knowledge of the Celtic and Druidic peoples to the advanced spiritual systems of the Ceres Egyptians. To understand what happened to us, we must first understand who the Grail kings were and why their genetic code was the most sought-after prize in the ancient universe. The saga of Enoch and the Scarab kings is not just their story, it is our story. The ancient world was not as peaceful as we are led to believe. It was a cosmic battlefield, and the prize was the human genome. Several powerful extraterrestrial factions came to Earth, each with a specific interest in the Grail king's DNA. First, there were the Anunnaki, a group described in ancient Sumerian texts as those who from heaven to earth came. These beings were advanced, but they had a problem. Their own genetic code was deteriorating. They possessed a 10-strand DNA template, which limited their lifespan and cut them off from higher universal consciousness. They saw the Grail king's 12-strand DNA as a way to repair their own biology and achieve the immortality they so desperately desired. Another key group was the Marduk Necromaton. This was a fallen Anunnaki faction, even more aggressive and power-hungry. They practiced a distorted form of science, a kind of black magic alchemy that sought to control life through manipulation and domination. The Necromaton agenda was not just to take the Grail King DNA for themselves, but to enslave humanity by downgrading our genetic potential. They understood that if humanity ever realized its full 12-strand capabilities, their power over this planet would be finished. So they waged war, creating chaos and fear to keep humanity divided and weak, making it easier to infiltrate and control the sacred bloodlines from within. Then there were the Luciferians. It is important to understand that this name does not refer to a religious devil, but to another advanced extraterrestrial group. The Luciferians also had a damaged genetic code, but theirs was an 11-strand template. This gave them immense intellectual and technological power, but they lacked the capacity for true spiritual connection and compassion. the very essence of the 12-strand diamond sun code. They believed they could seize this power and merge it with their own, creating a super race that would dominate the cosmos. They saw the Grail King's heart-based consciousness as a weakness, something to be exploited and weaponized for their own purposes. These groups, the 10-strand Anunnaki, the aggressive Marduk Necromaton, and the 11-strand Luciferians, all shared a common goal: to capture and hybridize with the pure 12-strand DNA of the Grail Kings. The ancient raids on civilizations in Atlantis, Egypt, and Lohas were not just territorial disputes. They were genetic harvesting operations. They sought to interbreed with the royal lines, to steal their women and children, and to corrupt the sacred bloodline from the inside. This cosmic war for our DNA is the untold story behind the fall of every great ancient civilization. It was a systematic campaign to sever humanity from its divine birthright. As these extraterrestrial groups infiltrated human societies, a new chapter in our history began: the Age of Hybrids. The Anunnaki and Luciferians were successful in capturing Grail King DNA and began a massive genetic engineering program. They interbred with the human royal lines, creating new hybrid bloodlines that they could control. These new dynasties were placed into positions of power across the globe. They looked human, but they carried the genetic signature and, more importantly, the political agenda of their off-world creators. This was the true origin of the divine right of kings, a divine right granted not by God, but by technologically superior extraterrestrial manipulators. These hybrid lines were designed to be the ruling elite. The Anunnaki, for instance, created what are known as the Belal lines, hybrid rulers with a 10-strand code who were programmed for patriarchal domination and conquest. They were installed as kings and emperors in Mesopotamia, Rome, and later across Europe. The Luciferians, on the other hand, created the satanic lines, hybrids with an 11-strand code who excelled in deception, banking, and the manipulation of knowledge. These two competing hybrid lines have been secretly warring for control of the planet ever since, using humanity as pawns in their ancient cosmic game. One of the most famous examples of these hybrid programs is the Knights Templar. Is it a coincidence that this powerful order emerged from nowhere, with immense wealth and knowledge of sacred geometry and ancient secrets? Ancient astronaut theorists propose that the Templars were a Luciferian creation. They were a hybrid super race, engineered to seek out and control the remaining Grail King artifacts and bloodlines. Their quest for the Holy Grail was not for a cup, but for the pure 12-strand DNA of the original Christos lineage, the ultimate prize in their genetic war. They became a powerful force, establishing the foundations of modern international banking and intelligence networks. These engineered dynasties spread across the world, rewriting history to erase any trace of the original Grail Kings and humanity's 12-strand potential. They created religions and political systems based on control, fear, and servitude. The great battles of history were often proxy wars between these competing Anunnaki and Luciferian hybrid factions. They built empires, instigated wars, and hoarded resources, all while keeping humanity in a state of genetic and spiritual amnesia. The secret societies and royal families that rule our world today, are they in fact the direct descendants of these ancient hybrid programs? The evidence, I believe, is overwhelming. After millennia of genetic manipulation and historical suppression, you might ask, what is left for humanity? The answer is everything. The most incredible secret of all is that the plan to completely destroy the human 12-strand diamond sun DNA template failed. While the ruling hybrid lines carry corrupted 10-strand and 11-strand codes, the original divine blueprint remains dormant within the DNA of the general human population. We are all, in a sense, descendants of the Grail Kings. The potential for full biological ascension, for activating our total genetic heritage, lies sleeping within every man, woman, and child on this planet. This is why humanity is so special. We are a Grail line race. Our DNA contains the memories of our ancestors, the knowledge of the cosmos, and the key to restoring our planet. The extraterrestrial groups who interfered in our evolution know this. That is why they have worked so hard to keep us distracted with wars, materialism, and a false history. They are terrified of the day humanity awakens and reclaims its power. An awakened human with an activated 12-strand DNA template is more powerful than any of these fallen extraterrestrial races. We have the missing piece they have been fighting over for eons. The capacity for unconditional love, which is the energetic key to activating the final DNA strands. So what does this mean for our future? It means we are on the verge of a great awakening. Today, on August 9th, 2025, more and more people are beginning to question the official narrative. They are feeling a pull towards a forgotten truth, a deep memory stirring in their soul. This is the awakening of our collective DNA. The knowledge of the Grail kings, the Anunnaki, and the Luciferians is not just a fascinating story. It is a roadmap for our own liberation. By understanding who we are and where we come from, we can begin the process of healing our DNA and reclaiming our sovereignty. It starts with rejecting the fear and division that have been used to control us. Knowing this secret history is the first step. It empowers us to see the world not as random chaos, but as a carefully constructed matrix of control. More importantly, it shows us the way out. The future is not about waiting for saviors from the sky. It is about becoming our own saviors by activating the divine technology we carry within us. The epic saga of Enoch and the Scarab Kings is not over. Its final chapter is being written right now, by us. We are the Grail, and the time for our awakening is here. The universe is waiting.